Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nurul Afifah binti Hafizul. Today I would like to present about the positive impact on reopening international borders to Malaysian Airlines. So first of all, I begin with the history of COVID-19, which can be categorized as an infectious illness that originated from new virus called coronavirus. So this virus began as epidemic in Wuhan, China, has spread nationally and worldwide. So in addition to that, a high mortality rate may be associated with the outbreak of epidemics of flu, as it could be categorized as a disaster. So this illustrates that COVID-19 is internationally categorized as catastrophe. So owing to that, WHO has declared a global emergency. So since March 2020, Malaysia has been experiencing a rising cases of COVID-19. So next. In dealing with this pandemic outbreak, government has introduced several measures. On March 16, Prime Minister at that time, Muhyiddin Yassin, announced that Malaysia will close its borders to foreign travellers and Malaysian citizens will not be allowed to leave the country from March 18 to March 31. This is to prevent the further spread of ongoing outbreak of coronavirus. So March 18, 2022, the movement control order has been placed in Malaysia to control and break down the infection chain of this epidemic. There are many sectors affected by these pandemics. Malaysian economy and aviation sector particularly have been in meltdown, which had been thrown into huge crisis. So some of the negative impacts on the Malaysian aviation industry include closure of airport, bannings of flights, and increasing industry debt profile. So next. So now on year 2022, Malaysia is all set to welcome back international travellers after the government announced the full reopening its border beginning 1 April 2022. So as per statement by Prime Minister now, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, the decision to reopen borders was made on three considerations. First, upon reviewing the latest COVID-19 scientific facts in Malaysia. Secondly, the government also observed and compared the reopening borders of the other countries. And lastly would be the decision aims to provide comfort for travellers and ease their journey. So next. So with the reopening of the country's borders, Malaysia with valid travel documents can now exit and enter Malaysia and to and from the other countries that have opened their borders. So at the same time, citizens of foreign countries with valid travel documents can also enter and exit Malaysia without the need to apply for My Travel Pass. They just need to download and activate the My Sejahtera and complete the pre-departure form through the traveller function in the app. So considering the microwave, Prime Minister also come with several procedures that must be complied with both Malaysians and foreign traveller entering Malaysia, which are fully vaccinated travellers are not required to undergo quarantine upon re-entering and will only have to take 2 COVID-19 detection tests. The first will be an RT-PCR done at least 2 days before a departure, and the second test will be an RT-KAG test done within 24 hours of arrival. And secondly, those who are not fully vaccinated must undergo 5-day quarantine upon arrival. Meanwhile, children and young people aged 12 to 17 years old are allowed for quarantine-free entry and only need to undergo professionally administered COVID-19 RT-KAG within 24 hours upon arrival in Malaysia. So next. So there are few future plans ahead since this reopening borders, which are Malaysian Airlines has set ambitious goal for capacity recovery this year. This can be seen by Malaysian Airline Group's aims to be operating 70% of its pre-COVID system capacity by the end of 2022. So next, low-cost carrier at Asia expects the border reopening to be a boost for them to achieve a record a 95% load factor by year end. So there are lots of benefits that we can get to Malaysian aviation sector since this reopening international borders, which are Malaysian aviation industry players are seeing surge in flight ticket bookings. Next, more fleet operating to various countries. This can be seen by increase in the frequency of flights. Third, increasing in number of foreign passengers coming to Malaysia. Next, airport operators are improving process flow at airports. Moreover, airline employees are being hired back. And lastly, more flights are scheduled. And the last one, the economic part of this topic, I take as an example is Malaysia Airlines Berhad. So Malaysia Airline Groups achieve positive EBITDA, which is earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation and amortization of 433 million ringgit Malaysia compared to 1,761 million ringgit Malaysia a year ago. Secondly, Malaysia Aviation Group passenger traffic and capacity down by 56% and 70% of year-on-year respectively due to continued domestic and global travel restriction for the most part of 2021. Third, Malaysian Aviation Group on-time performance slightly down a bit at 89.2% compared to 90% a year ago due to additional COVID-19 SOP at most airports. And next, Malaysian Airline Berhad cargo revenue grew up by 52% year-on-year with load factor increasing by an average of 7% and yield by an average of 12%. And lastly, Malaysian Airlines Berhad customer satisfaction index up 3 percentage points year-on-year and net promoter score up 30 points from a year ago. So that's all from me. Thank you.